I have been a volunteer with CASA since 2011. Madison County has only had CASA, which is Court-Appointed Special Advocacy, for 3 years, but it's been in St. Clair County for 26 years. Does anybody here know what CASA is? Besides Sherry, put your hand down. Okay, CASA is, and Sandy is about to get trained as well. Basically, we are working with the courts here in Madison County to basically be a community representative, eyes on children that are in foster care. So in addition to a caseworker or a social worker they might have, we are also going to see the kids and just seeing how they're doing, where they are, seeing if that's a good fit for them, seeing if their needs are being met, have they gotten their counseling, those kind of things. And then we issue a report to the judge. And that's usually once every 6 months. It takes between 18 and 24 months for a case to close when a child's been removed from the home, which is kind of sad. But that's just the way it is. And it takes, basically in Madison, 18 months is usually a minimum that they're in foster care, because parents have to get things done so they can get their children back. Definitely in Madison County, we're at a deficit of volunteers because it's a new thing and people haven't heard of it and don't know what it is. And so that's what my goal is. I'm under a grant to be a volunteer recruiter. So I've been a volunteer, and then last February they got grant money to have me go around, speak to people, table events, and then I screen volunteers, which I'll do this afternoon. I've got a couple people. So we have about 30 active volunteers in Madison. St. Clair has about 125. And we both have the same amount of kids in care. I think in Madison County, people don't want to believe that Madison County has just as many kids in foster care as St. Clair County, but we do. So right now, we're on the docket already. It's having 85 kids removed since the beginning of the year. Okay, we're on the road to getting to what we usually are, which is around 200 kids in care to 225, something like that has been the last few years. So that's a lot. And kids aren't being removed for small things. It's usually, not for spanking and things like that. It's usually big things. So it could be physical abuse, sexual abuse, or severe neglect. And basically, as a CASA, our goal is to find safe permanent placement, or make safe permanent placement happen sooner than later, faster. And as a community member, we have sometimes a little bit more pull because the judge is concerned a little more about what we say. They know we're doing it as volunteers. Nobody's paying us. We don't answer to anybody except the guidelines that we have for CASA. And so, believe it or not, we can do some good because we can light a fire under certain people to make things happen a little faster sometimes. And so that's kind of what we do. The training that's involved, we do about a 30 to 32 hour training, early childhood development and things to look for, and how the court system works in Madison, which is different than how it works in St. Clair. And then you do some court observations, and that's about 8 hours of court observation. You go and see how things work. CASA, when kids are taken away, it's a civil case. There could be somebody that's prosecuted somewhere in criminal, but kids being in foster care is civil. So. But we would love to have more volunteers. We were trying to twist some arms over here. We'd love to have more guys because we have a lot of boys, that need there's not many father figures around most of the time in these cases. And, but we just love to have more numbers. So our goal is to provide a CASA for every child that gets put in foster care. Obviously with 30 volunteers, we can't do that right now. So they're giving us, the judge, which is Judge Grounds right now in juvenile court, is giving us the cases they think are going to take longer or that are more complicated. And so there's a lot of other kids out there, and yes, there's some duplication of efforts with social workers, but social workers have 18, 19 cases with at least 2 or 3 kids on each one, so they don't have time to really focus on the children. So if you take anything out of this at all, just think of CASA, which is Court-Appointed Special Advocacy, as being the eyes and the ears of a judge and the voice of a child, which is what we're trying to do.